Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am super excited to be driving a 2013 Subaru BRZ. Up front is a 2.0 liter flat 4, and down below is a 6-speed manual gearbox. Now let's talk about that 2.0 liter flat 4. Well, Subarus are known for their flat 4, but like I'll talk about later, this car isn't really fully a Subaru, but we'll talk about that later. The flat 4 puts out about 200 horsepower, so this thing is not going to be the quickest thing in the world. And that's good. I actually prefer that it's not super fast. So while this car does give that awesome Subaru grumble, it's not going to win that many races. It'll actually get beaten by my 13B RX-7, which puts out about 145 horsepower. So it's not really quick, but that's good. I'm glad that it's not quick, but again, we'll talk about that in a second. Let's get these basics out of the way. This car also has a Crawford exhaust. The owner, Amar, he's not really sure what that is. It just kind of came on the car, and he has a bunch of plans for this car anyway. But it doesn't sound bad. It obviously makes it a little bit louder, and for a little fun performance car like this, that's a good thing. 6-speed manual, really nice, really 6 gears just for highway cruising and that sort of thing. And then reverse, you pull the tab and then over to the left. It's front-engined, manual, and rear-wheel drive, which is the winning ticket, of course, as we all know. So let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 3 gauges. To the right is fuel and heating. In the center is my tachometer, which I personally love. It really reminds me of RX-7s because most RX-7s have a huge center mounted tach, so you can see that 7 grand red line, which this car actually redlines at about 7,500. And in the middle of that tach, you get your speed. So really, you only have to look at 1 gauge when you're going down the road, which is really nice. And then to the left, you have your regular run-of-the-mill speedometer, which if you actually want to see precisely that go up and down, that's there, but you also get it in the center, so it's really no need for that. The steering wheel has no buttons on it, which I absolutely love. I'm not really a fan of huge cluttered steering wheels. To the left of me, I just have power windows and mirrors. In the center, it has been outfitted with an aftermarket radio. Down below that is your heating and cooling controls, which are 3 big circles, which look really cool. And if you're going to make this thing into a race car, it'd be a great spot to put gauges. Extra little gauge pods right down there. But below that, there are even more climate control options, but they're like toggle switches. It's like almost like a fighter jet or something. It's really cool looking. It looks like the R switches in a GTR, which I think looks really cool, although all they do is really recirculate the air, turn on the AC, stuff like that. It's not crazy of the crazy. And then down below that is the actual starter button. So this is a push to start car, which is super nice. Then of course you have the shifter, which is surrounded by a dinner plate ring. That's just huge. Down below that, traction control off and sport mode. And then back here we have our heated seat options. This car also has a back seat, but let's be honest, it's really just for insurance purposes, so it comes up as a 4-seater rather than a 2. I really do like the look of the BRZ as well. I have to say, it is a really good looking car, and especially in the white. Usually you see them in blue or black, but I really like the white. So back when I said this car isn't really fully a Subaru, this car was developed between Subaru and Toyota. Subaru provided the engine, that flat 4 boxer that Subaru's known for. But Toyota did a lot of the other work. And that's why the Scion FRS or Toyota GT86, they're all the same car. Granted, they're gonna have a few other options here, like little minuscule bumper reshapes, or that the BRZ comes, you know, standard with some equipment that's not standard on the FRS or vice versa. There are gonna be little things like that, but at its core, if you take the badges off and you take those features out, they're the same car. The Toyotas and Scions come with the same 2.0 flat 4. Definitely sounds good too. I don't really know what the Crawford exhaust is, but definitely doesn't sound bad. Let's get into why I was so excited to do this review. Well, while this car gets beaten by my 13B RX-7, Oop, train tracks. Alright. I think this car will matter a lot more than my RX-7 in 10 to 15 years. This car is the new Nissan 240SX. And what I mean by that is that the 240SX is such a great platform, but they're so hard to find completely stock nowadays. If you can find a stock stick shift Nissan 240SX, you found a unicorn, and you need to harvest it and keep it safe and don't do anything with it. And I feel like the BRZ/FRS will be like that in 10 to 15 years. Now, I know what you're thinking, is that I've driven a Mazda RX-8 from the mid-2000s, and I've driven a 350Z, and yes, those have the same great recipe as this car. The front engine, stick shift, rear wheel drive. That's the winning recipe. And for all you mid-engine people, yes, mid-engine cars are fun, but try doing an engine swap with the hood the size of a toaster. It's not a whole lot of fun then. But why is this car going to be the new 240? Why is this going to be the new drift missile vehicle as opposed to the 350Z or RX-8? Well, it's because of that underpowered engine that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. If this car had a superb engine like the Rotary or like the VQ, people would keep these engines in here. But because they're not the best, they definitely work, they're great engines, but because they're not the absolute best, people throw 2JZs in these. They throw tons of stuff. Another reason is that Subaru and Toyota made so many of these things. I mean, these are really common cars. They almost suffer from Civic syndrome, which is a saying I made up that describes cars that really need modification to stick out in the crowd. That's why everyone throws an exhaust or a wrap or some type of modification on these BRZs and FRSs, because they need to stick out from the crowd. They need to do something different. They don't want to be just another BRZ or FRS in the crowd because there's so many of them. Mark my words, these cars will be valuable in 10 to 15 years. These will be the new project cars that you pick up for $800 off of Craigslist that doesn't have any matching body panels, that doesn't have its original engine. So, while the BRZ handles great, it's quick enough for the basic car guy. While all of that is true, it's not wowing me. I'm not thinking, oh my god, I need to sell a kidney to get one of these in my life. But that being said, this is a very important car to car culture. This is the new project car. This is going to be the next drift missile. We see it now with the 240SX nearly 20 years after its release. It's hard to find one without dented quarter panels and at least 2 or 3 engine swaps. And so while right now there's a ton of them around and we don't really bat an eyelash at another BRZ or FRS, appreciate them while they're here, because I have a feeling in a couple years there won't be so many. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. I hope you guys learned something about the Subaru BRZ. They're really fun cars. I'd highly recommend, if you're looking to get into car culture, if you're looking to get into driving, these are definitely superb cars. The suspension is great. It has enough power to get you around. It's rear-wheel drive, stick shift. It's a great starter car, and I'm really looking forward to what Amar is going to do with it. But again, hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys. There goes a sight from my soul.